This is something I thought about doing for a long time, but I think anyone would agree it's hard to pick your favorite films, and it's even harder to put them into some kind of order, especially when it can always change. So consider this an incomplete list. I'm going to give you, how about 30? That sounds good, right? This is a 3-part video. If you've seen a lot of my movie reviews, you might even be able to predict what some of my top choices are going to be. But now's the time to lay them all down. Of course, a lot of these films I've seen at a young age and have had a huge impact on me, but the ones I'm choosing are the ones that keep getting better with repeated viewings. These are the movies that mean the most to me, the movies that stood the test of time. I most humbly present to you my top 30 favorite films. Number 30, Jurassic Park. This is a story of what happens when you fuck with nature. Scientists come up with a way to bring back the dinosaurs and build an entire theme park around it. But then all hell breaks loose. It's like a prehistoric Frankenstein. Afterwards, I had to read every Michael Crichton novel I could get my hands on. It's a great story with great characters. Sam Neill's stubborn attitude mixed with Jeff Goldblum's playful and joking personality is a good combo. However, it was the dinosaurs that stole the show. The special effects were jaw-dropping. These were dinosaurs like we've never seen before. They were quick, they were mean, and they ripped people apart. Parents brought their kids to see this and didn't even know what was coming. When I watch this movie today, it brings me back to my youth and reminds me of a time when dinosaurs were awesome. Number 29, The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao.
Lo. Dr. Lo.
Well, excuse me. I'm going to have a hard time explaining this movie. It's about a quiet western town that's visited by a strange man named Dr. Lo, who brings with him a circus. This is no ordinary circus. It's full of magical fantasy characters such as a serpent, the abominable snowman, the Medusa, Merlin the magician, the fortune teller, and the goofiest of all, Pan. Tony Randall does a fantastic job playing all these different characters. It brings to mind actors like Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy, who are known for playing multiple roles. But I think Seven Faces of Dr. Lo might be the greatest and most diverse collection of characters I've seen portrayed by one actor. This movie can be enjoyed for its individual scenes. There's a scene where the fortune teller is telling a woman her future, but he's honest and brutal.
When you die, you will be buried and forgotten. And that is all.
He brings her to tears, and at the same time it pains him because he's cursed to tell the truth. It's hilariously morbid. The whole film is a mixture of different emotions, but the feeling it leaves you with is a positive outlook that the world is full of magic and wonder.
Every time you watch a rainbow and feel wonder in your heart, you are part of the circus of Dr. Lo.
I don't understand.
Neither do I.
Number 28, Scarface.
Say hello to my little friend.
This is one instance when I choose the remake over the classic 1932 version. To me, Al Pacino is Tony Montana. Nobody swears as good as him.
You fucking better go!
This sounds like a great big pussy, just waiting to get fucked on.
Under its facade of funny quotes and insane violence, it has a great story. Tony's an immigrant who tries to start a new life in America, but he turns to a life of crime. He climbs his way to the top of the gangster totem pole, and once he has the whole world in his hands, it all comes falling down on him. What's so great about it is how attached you become to this character. Even though he kills people and does bad things, he has his limits. There's a pivotal scene where he refuses to blow up a car because there's children inside.
You think I killed 2 kids and a woman? Fuck that! I don't need that shit in my life.
There's enough movies out there about the good guy. This is one for the bad guy.
So say good night to the bad guy.
Number 27, Night of the Living Dead.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I consider it to be the last of the classic black and white horror films. It was just a little independent film that went a long way and ushered in a whole genre of modern horror flicks. Every horror movie today owes something to it, especially the zombie genre. But its historical significance does not overshadow how suspenseful and exciting it is as a movie. Even though it's cheap looking and some of the acting is really bad, it has a haunting, nightmarish quality that just builds up until the climax. Right from the opening scene, the zombies attack. No explanation needed, it just happens. A bunch of strangers lock themselves up in a farmhouse while the dead try to break in. They treat it like a natural disaster with everybody fighting to stay alive. The only problem is that they can't learn to work together.
Let's drag you out there and feed you those things.
Number 26, Jason and the Argonauts. It's the classic adventure flick. It captures your imagination and puts you into a fantasy world where the gods and goddesses treat the mortals like pawns in a chess game. The real showstopper is the stop-motion animation by Ray Harryhausen. I had a hard time choosing between this, Clash of the Titans, and the Sinbad trilogy, but I think this is his best work. It's all about the man-on-monster death matches, like the battle with the Hydra. Look at all these heads he had to animate. Then of course there's Talos, the statue. When that thing starts moving, goddamn is it scary. And the best scene of all is the battle with the skeletons. It is so friggin' cool. I never get tired of watching this.
Some people say Casablanca or Citizen Kane. I say Jason and the Argonauts is the greatest film ever made.
Number 25, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I haven't read the novel, not yet at least, but the film very much impressed me. Jack Nicholson plays a criminal who's serving a sentence in prison. He pretends to be mentally ill so that he can be transferred to the mental institution because he thinks that that would be better than prison.
You know, what do you want me to do? I'm like, you know. You know what I mean? Is that it? Is that crazy enough for you? Want me to take a shit on the floor?
That is until he finds out that he's going to be stuck there indefinitely. And then he wants out. He develops a friendship with the others and inspires a rebellion against the cold-hearted Nurse Ratched. I think this is Jack Nicholson's best role and one of the greatest screen performances of all time. Not just him, but the whole cast is excellent. I feel like I really sympathize with these people. A mandatory film? Check it out.
How about it, you creep?
Number 24, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Junior?
The real ingenuity of the Indiana Jones films is that they're all built around cliches of old adventure films, but they come off as being so fresh. It's definitely a toss-up between Raiders and Crusade, but my favorite's Crusade. The quest for the Holy Grail has been written about for ages, and it's probably been the most sought-after object in human history. There's something satisfying about seeing Indiana Jones find it, even though it is just a movie. What I like best is the father and son relationship.
Dad! Oh, Dad! Oh, Dad! What?
Sean Connery is great as Indy's dad, and it's so appropriate because James Bond was one of the main heroes that inspired Indiana Jones.
Sean, I'm sorry. They got us.
There's a perfect blend of humor and outstanding action scenes, one of the best of its kind. Number 23, Batman. Gotta include this. Seeing it as a kid, I didn't fully appreciate it. It's a movie that I feel has gotten better with age and has truly surpassed the test of time. It was the first movie to show us the darker side of Batman, going from the 1940s film serials to the 1960s TV series, and then to this was the biggest change that Batman's gone through in the movies. It set the dark tone, the standard for which newer Batman movies would follow. Michael Keaton's great.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
As Bruce Wayne, he's sly and unassuming. When he's Batman, he's badass.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Jack Nicholson as the Joker, one of the greatest screen villains.
Boo.
He's maniacal, funny, and totally unpredictable. It's definitely more heavy on atmosphere and visuals than on story, but that's Tim Burton for you. The music by Danny Elfman is what holds it all together. It sets the mood, the dark, ass-kicking vibe, and gives me chills every time I hear it. Number 22, The Great Escape. Inspired by real-life events, it tells the story of prisoners in World War II trying to escape from a Nazi prison camp.
Hold it!
Their plan is to dig tunnels from inside their prisons and dispose of the dirt outside the camp.
How do you breathe? Well, we got a steel rod with hinges on it, and we shove it up and make air holes as we go along. Good night, sir.
The movie works so well because you really want to see these guys get out, and it's not easy for them at all.
Do you speak Russian?
A little, but only one sentence.
Well, let me have it, mate.
Я вас люблю.
Я вас
Люблю.
lublю. Я вас люблю. Я вас люблю. What's it mean?
I love you.
Love you? What bloody good is that?
I don't know. I wasn't going to use it myself.
The cast is excellent. Donald Pleasance, Charles Bronson, among many others. But the guy who steals the show is Steve McQueen. It's no wonder why everyone loves him so much. He's funny, and you root for him the whole time. The motorcycle chase is often considered to be one of the all-time greatest action scenes. It's not just because of the stunt work and the whole spectacle of it, but because you're so emotionally invested in seeing him escape. It's a very long movie, but when you get some extra time on your hands, give it a watch. Number 21, North by Northwest. It's the ultimate reluctant hero story about an innocent man who's being chased all across the U.S. by both the police who think he's a terrorist and actual terrorists who think he's a government agent. Hell-bent on finding the real agent, he goes on a quest as the plot unravels and gets even more complicated. He finds out the agent never existed, a decoy planned by the FBI, but now that he's assumed the role, he's enlisted to actually become the fake agent he was originally trying to prove he was not. It'll make your head explode.
Seems to me you fellows could stand a little less training from the FBI and a little more from the actor's studio.
Apparently, the only performance that'll satisfy you is when I play dead.
In your very next role, you'll be quite convincing, I assure you.
Cary Grant is phenomenal in the role. Speaking rapidly, making smart comebacks to everything, you believe that a guy with his personality could get himself into such a mess.
Something wrong with your eyes?
Yes, they're sensitive to questions. Will you call them?
Both a hilarious comedy and suspenseful thriller, one of Alfred Hitchcock's best. But remember, I said one of. We have 20 movies left to go, so check in for part 2.